Hello and welcome to the preview of Manchester United away at Crystal Palace on Saturday. I've got with me Joey to discuss the game. We've also been hearing today that there's some news regarding the transfers that Manchester United have signed Memphis Depay, or Depay, however you pronounce it, for 25 million subject to a medical. I mean, that's fantastic news, isn't it, Joey? I mean, we've finally got a transfer in quite early on, unlike the previous two summers where we've waited ever such a long time to get our transfers and had to pay over the odds. I mean, he's one of the hottest prospects, youngsters in European football. So it looks like quite exciting times, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's a fantastic player from everything we've seen this season in the Dutch league. He's coming off a fantastic World Cup where he scored a couple goals, and he is one of the top two or three, maybe if not the most sought after youngster in Europe. He was linked with us, Liverpool and PSG, but I think there was really only one choice for him. He gets to come to a club where we should be in the Champions League, challenging for titles. He gets to work under a father figure like Louis van Gaal. I think it's just great for us that we've gotten it in, and it's kind of curious, as to why they announced it today. Maybe to give us a boost ahead of the weekend, because coming off of 3 losses, haven't scored. This weekend's going to be a vital game in our season to really securing the top four. So maybe a timely boost for the boys, but he'll bring that pace, power. He'll run at players. He can score goals. He can create goals. He just looks like a really, really good footballer, and the heights that this kid can reach, are out of this world. He could be potentially in that tier below Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen too much of him, but it seems that the transfer fee, as they're talking, is 25 million, which that's quite cheap, isn't it? I mean, considering Fellaini costs around 27 million. I mean, getting the transfers in early does help to bring the cost down, so it could effectively help us sign a few other players. I mean, I don't know if you still think that maybe Bale will come in, maybe or not, but it probably won't now that we've signed Depay. But
I
I
mean,
don't know.
the Gareth Bale thing, I just don't think he want. He's had opportunities to join this club multiple times. When he left Southampton, he could have joined us, and he went to Tottenham. When he left Tottenham, we bid more than Real Madrid, and he could have came here. Granted, it was at the last minute, and nobody really wants to play for David Moyes. But I just think Gareth Bale doesn't want to be here. There's something maybe obviously he grew up a Real Madrid fan. That's okay. Some people aren't boyhood fans of the club. So like I said, I just don't think Gareth Bale really wants to be here, or whatever. But that's more on him. If he doesn't want his name sung every week, and he doesn't want the best support in the world, then fuck him. And it's kind of funny because looking at what Roy Keane said and Paul Scholes said about him in the last game against Juventus, they said it was like playing with 10 men. He didn't do shit. And this is becoming a theme this season where he had this excellent first season, but now, some of the criticism is justified. He isn't showing up in some of these games. I know he's coming off an injury, whatever, but I just think that high price tags and things like that, I think the pressure would get to him, here too. But the difference is we won't boo him. So, I don't think we need Gareth Bale. I'm not saying I wouldn't take him. But if we're going to go after a superstar like that, why not get it in a position we need, like central midfielder? Why not go after Paul Pogba or, or a center back like, I hear Otamendi or Mats Hummels, go after a superstar in a position we actually need now. Because, you have Depay, Ashley Young's coming off a decent season. We still have Januzaj. Januzaj's going to – I still have faith that Januzaj will be a top player. And we have Di Maria, so I wouldn't mind another winger coming in, but it doesn't have to be Gareth Bale. I wouldn't mind another young winger, to develop or, established at this point. But I don't think we need to go after Gareth Bale, and especially with the money, like you were saying. We can spend that money elsewhere. But, Depay potentially has the ability to be better than Gareth Bale.
Yeah, hopefully we will see some of that next season. Well, at the moment we've obviously got to make do with what players we've got, and I don't know if I think we've still got a few injury concerns to worry about ahead of this game at Crystal Palace. Now it's going to be a difficult and probably a tight game because away from home we haven't been good at all this season. We've had the odd decent performance like away at Liverpool and that, but not very few performances have been up to scratch away from home, and we haven't scored in 3 games, which is a real concern. How would you go about this game? I mean, do you think we need to bring some different players in? I mean, hopefully Carrick's now back. I don't know if he is. Would you bring Phil Jones back into the team, probably ahead of Paddy McNair, maybe, and try and get back to a more sort of the team we played in the previous games where we went on that winning streak?
Yeah, I would go with a team similar, but I wouldn't go with the exact team. I do think that Phil Jones should come in for Paddy McNair. Patty McNair is somebody that should be looked to for the future. We shouldn't be relying on him right now, but we have to with our injury situation. But there's two types of people. There's stats people, and there's other people with the eye test. Phil Jones, he doesn't do it always. With the eye test, he doesn't always the prettiest. But the stats say he's one of the best young center backs in the world. Which is funny because we all see him as this guy, who runs around like a headless chicken, you know what I mean, throwing in these crazy tackles. But the stats say he's a decent player. So I mean, he was the center back with when we went on that run with Chris Smalling. It was 6 in a row. So yeah, I think Phil Jones should come back in. Hopefully Rojo's not too far off either. But I'd like to see Di Maria start this game, maybe out wide right, bring Mata in centrally, and I would put Rooney in place of Fellaini because I think against teams like Crystal Palace and West Brom, we don't need Fellaini. We don't need to knock the ball high into the air. We need to. I was saying this on the United View. We need to run at these out wide with pace and whip these balls in, and another guy said it. We need to find the gaps. The small gaps in between. Because they're going to be compact, Crystal Palace. They're gonna park the bus 2 banks of 4. They're going to try and hit us on the counter. And to be honest, they have more quality players than West Brom. Balassi, Zaha, both. They both provide a little bit of trickery and pace on the wings for them. They also got Fraser Campbell, who scored against us last year. So I think there needs to be some type of changes. It doesn't have to be massive wholesale changes. But, and I said this too, I said the only good thing you can take out of West Brom game is that it was 1 week closer to Carrick returning because goddamn do we need him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such a shame that we're having to rely on someone that's about 33 years old, and that is really where we need to improve for next season. We need to get 3 or 4 more players in that not necessarily. I mean, even Memphis Depay might not go automatically into the team every single week because he's still only young, but we need them players that can come in, a few players that can play in the squad that can actually really help us kick on when we've got Champions League football and FA Cup and League Cup games as well, so that we're not having to play too many unexperienced players like Paddy McNair every week and maybe Blackett and players that aren't always at the same standards. So obviously that needs to be improved. A bit of squad depth will really help us push on, certainly in the Premier League next season. It was a bit strange to hear that Louis van Gaal sort of criticised Van Persie after that penalty against West Brom. I mean, Wayne Rooney's missed his fair share of penalties, and he now says that he's at the bottom of the pile to take the penalty. Would you still keep him in your team for this week? And I don't know who you think should now take the penalties because I suppose Wayne Rooney's still down the bottom, so I presume it's probably going to go to someone else like Juan Mata or someone if we are to get another penalty this season.
It's funny. We were talking about this yesterday after the camera stop, I think, and I said, yeah, who the hell's going to take the penalties because Wayne Rooney isn't the greatest penalty taker either. He's missed quite a few that you just mentioned. I think it was strange that he took it away from Van Persie like that. Maybe he has, maybe in Louis van Gaal's thinking that in the future, Van Persie isn't always going to be in the team. He wants to get someone who's going to be a more regular starter. So yeah, I think Juan Mata should take the penalties. Did he take them at Chelsea? No, Lampard did, didn't he? I don't know how. I guess I would have to do
Yeah,
some more. I'd have to do some more research into it. But Juan Mata would seem the obvious choice. To take these penalties. Um, but maybe it'll be one of our new signings. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Memphis Depay. He takes the penalties at PSV. But yeah, I think that is strange. And as far as Van Persie and the team, I thought Van Persie was one of our best players last week, and that's not saying a whole lot. I was saying, had he been match sharp, not match fit, he probably would have bagged a hat trick because there was a couple where I thought he could have done better on but he showed hunger, and I think that's important. When I see Falcao play, he just doesn't have the same hunger. But I think Falcao's hunger is being, put to the side because of his body. Van Persie's body, funnily enough, might be, in better shape than Falcao. I know Van Persie has a longer injury history, but Falcao's got that serious knee injury that's more recent. And but I mean, yeah, I think I would keep Van Persie in the team. I'd put Rooney in central midfield, but Herrera. If Carrick's fit, I'd put Carrick in that whole role. If not, I would put Blind. We had Herrera in that role against West Brom, and I hate him in that role. I absolutely hate him. Not that he can't do the job, but I just feel like, his talent is wasted. I think he's so much better further up the pitch than, in that Carrick role.
yeah. Well, if Carrick is fit, then hopefully Wayne Rooney will be pushed further up the pitch, maybe more alongside Robin van Persie, or maybe in sort of Fellaini's role, because I think Wayne Rooney is wasted further back in midfield. But I just think that the criticism of Louis van Gaal for sticking with Van Persie to take that penalty against West Brom was stupid, because he has been the penalty taker now, the main one, for a couple of since he arrived at Manchester United. And had he scored that penalty, I mean, no one would have bat an eyelid. But as soon as he missed it, everyone was just going crazy, saying Rooney should have taken it and that, which personally I think is crazy, because Wayne Rooney missed the one against Liverpool not too long ago, and the pressure was almost off when he took that one, because we were winning 2-1 with about 30 or 40 seconds to go. So. And Wayne Rooney's actually got one of the worst records in Premier League history taking penalties.
Says it all. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's just the English media. The way they get on people and certain managers, like it's funny. They sit in suits behind computers and type these stories. They're a bunch of cowards in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, are you expecting a tight game in this game away? I mean, we haven't played very well away from home and haven't scored many goals. I mean,
yeah,
on the whole, we haven't put a lot in, have we?
You're right, but I think that some urgency needs to be shown. I think they need to come out the gates, and I think they need to get an early goal. I'm going with a 2-0 prediction, but anything is. I mean, anything can happen in this game. But like I said, I really want to see them play with some urgency. We have to win this game. Liverpool are playing Chelsea. They're not going to win, but they could scrape a draw if Chelsea, play their second squad or something like that, or they do some rotation. So I know Chelsea have only been beaten one time in the league at home under Mourinho to Sunderland. So I really don't want to hear fucking Liverpool fans, piping on about that. I think we need to get top four wrapped up as soon as possible. Arsenal are on the horizon after Crystal Palace, and then we got a trip to Hull, who'll be fighting for survival. Granted, our record at Hull is pretty good. I still want to see this wrapped up sooner than later.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we'll probably just sneak it, maybe sort of 2-1 in this game. Do you think if we could sew it up, if we could get the win against Crystal Palace, do you think the top four is then sewn up for as far as it goes? Because if Chelsea don't win, then I think it's almost virtually impossible. If Chelsea get a result, then I think it's almost impossible for Liverpool to get top four, then, isn't it?
Well, if we win and they lose, that's 7 points, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong, you can't get 7 points out of 2 games. So, yeah, I would say if we win and they lose, it's mathematically done. But I think psychologically, if they get a draw, that's good for them. That's real good for them, But Nah, I just can't see them beating. You know, as as good as Liverpool's run of results was, over that January February, they didn't play anybody. They played City, but look at City. They haven't been good at all this season. You know, um, I just think that Liverpool aren't a good team, and I don't think that they have. People are all, only Liverpool fans or are all over Coutinho. I think he's a good player, but the way they talk about him, like he's the next fucking, you know, like he's the next whoever. It's kind of funny to me. He scores 3 goals and he gets in team of the week or team of the year over Fabregas, who had a fantastic first half of the season, who has the most assists in the Premier League. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But yeah, I just don't think Liverpool have a good team. I think that their transfer dealings are shocking. I think they're horrible. I think their manager is I think he's a decent manager, but I think he's delusional with some of the things he says. I just don't see them getting top 4. I really don't. It's funny because I look back at my predictions in the beginning of the year, and I thought that they would finish 4th and we would finish 3rd, and Arsenal would miss out in the top 4, and I'm completely wrong, aren't I?
Yeah, I actually agree because I actually predicted that we'd finish 4th at the start of the season and Liverpool 3rd, with Arsenal 5th. So I didn't think Arsenal would finish in the top 4 this season, but they've actually proved me wrong. And
you know what? They've been playing some of the best football in the league the last 2 months. I mean, they look really, really good. Alexis Sanchez has been I hit Coquelin. I'm really excited to see what they do in the summer. Hopefully they don't come near any of our targets. But I'm really looking forward to the Premier League next season. See, the difference between United fans and other teams, when other teams get the draw for the Champions League, they want the weakest team. As Manchester United fans, we want to see our team against the best teams in Europe, the best teams in England, the best teams in the world. We don't back down for that challenge. We embrace that us against the world mentality. So I'm looking forward to next season. I can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got a bit lucky. I don't know if you agree this season that the other teams, as you've said there, Liverpool are absolutely dog shit this year. Everton have been absolutely dog shit as well. I know they beat us quite convincingly, but I looked and Arsenal finished 4th last season with 79 points, and Everton actually finished in 5th with 72 points, and we're only on 65. So I don't know if you agree that we've actually the other teams have been so bad that has allowed us to get 4th spot.
Well, I think, obviously, definitely when you look at the points too. But I think that Arsenal and the other teams around us, Liverpool, they had really slow starts. So did we. We had a really, really slow start. We didn't have many points in the middle of September, but we went on 2 really nice runs of results. The one that started around the Arsenal, and then remember Southampton away. It was like so many games unbeaten. And then more recently, we went on the 6-game winning streak. And I think those 2 winning streaks got us the top 4 because there was the odd result here or there. But those 2 streaks helped us. But I think every team started slow. Chelsea, they were probably the best team this year, but that's not saying much. It's kind of reminding me of 2 years ago when we won the title. Everybody else was absolutely shit. Shit. And we were just the best out of the shit because we weren't that good. We were giving up the first goal in 15 of 36 or 38 games. So that's what I'm saying. Next year, Arsenal, if they can continue this, what they've got going, they got a good thing going, and they could add to it. Chelsea will be defending champions. City are looking like an overhaul. Liverpool still can't get players in, but they'll think next year is their year. And obviously, we've already brought in Depay, and we're going to bring in players. And Louis van Gaal's going to have a full preseason. I'm telling you, next year potentially could be one of the most competitive and exciting Premier League years we'll ever see.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it will. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add before we finish up, or just to remind everyone where to find you on Twitter and that.
No, my Twitter's at Joey Tabor. I'm a regular on the United View on Wednesday nights. Just follow me on Twitter. Shoot me a tweet. We talk the bullshit. Other than that, subscribe to this channel. This channel is great. There's some really good YouTube channels out there. And if anybody wants to come join us whenever, always looking for YouTubers to come out and make some videos. But looking forward to this weekend's game. I'll be available for a review with you. Hopefully, we'll be smiling. And I don't. Did we play before? We played before Liverpool and Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
So we'll all be sitting around watching that game, with our blue shirts on, hoping Chelsea beat Liverpool and hoping Eden Hazard gets back from his little fucking vacation.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be back after the game to give our reaction to the game. So until then, just let us know your thoughts on the signing of Memphis Depay and the game on Saturday, and we'll be back then for a review. Until then, we'll talk to you soon.